the flip? That's like a toast and guac score. That's actually insane.
I have a star on my face because I have a massive pimple. So if you're watching the visuals, I'm sorry. If you're not, Parul was catching her breath as she's stepping in through her house.
When are you playing DBD? After this video. I don't know who the name that is. I don't know who that is. Exeter. Oh, Exeter. I'm here. Yes. Welcome to the Twitch genius. Welcome. That's also guy. Damn, I wish Toast was here to that joke.
She was busy all day.
Okay.
All of these errands, running around town,
aren't happy?
buying groceries, going to the local shop.
Okay, I just want to hear what it look like.
And now she's rushing in through the door. She's trying to check up on her 8-year-old son, Amar, and also she's her 6-month-old nephew. So she's checking up on both of them. And like, okay, yeah, in hindsight, probably not the best idea to leave an 8-year-old in charge of the house, in charge of watching this 6-month-old baby. But in this area, daycare is just not really a thing. Like, people don't really have babysitters. They don't really have places to send their kids so that they can run errands freely. This was the norm, and she had done it before. And Amar, who's 8, I mean, he's pretty good. He's been left home alone. He's been babysitting his cousin. Everything has been fine. So she walks in through the door, and she sees her son Amar just playing on the ground with all of his little toy cars. She's like, hey, sweetie, I'm home. And she's putting down the groceries, and she's wondering, okay, well, where's the nephew? Where's the 6-month-old? Amar just is sitting there quietly and doesn't even respond to her. Sweetie, did you hear me? Where is the baby? Is he in the crib? He's not responding. So she stops what she's doing, looks at her son, and she sees that he's kind of smiling. And it's just odd. It's a little unsettling. Like, he's not laughing, he's not giggling. It feels like, you know,
8-year-old serial killer flipping insane. Therefore download it 6. It's DBD season.
So she's like, okay, come on, get out of here. Like,
8-year-old serial killer, what the flip?
And he just says so calmly, Mom, I killed him.
What?
At first, and he just
reload it, reload it.
So she's like, okay,
reload it, reload it, reload it, reload it.
And he just says so calmly,
you can play Jen if you want.
I killed him. At first, she thinks all of this is a joke. I mean, maybe this is how kids joke around. Maybe he inherited some weird, sick, deranged sense of humor from someone up in her family line. She doesn't know where, but this has got to be a joke, right? So she gets up and she's like, what are you talking about? Where did you hide the baby? The game is over.
He killed the baby?
He just grabs her hand and starts leading her to the backyard. And I think this is when she genuinely starts feeling a little bit more relaxed. I mean, I think she could still probably hear the heartbeat in her throat. What do you even do at that point, bro? She's still a little bit panicked because the baby is still missing right now. But she's thinking, okay, I'm gonna go outside. The baby's gonna be laying flat on its back in the grass in the backyard, sucking its thumb, looking up at the sky. It's gonna be okay. And then I'm gonna have to teach my kid a lesson. But as they're heading out, there's nothing. The deeper they get into their backyard, she's starting to get that anxious feeling again. And she starts scolding her son, like, this isn't a good prank. Just tell me where you hid him. You need to tell me. This could be dangerous. He starts silently leading her towards the back, further and further. And finally, he lifts his hand, his tiny little hand, and points at the ground. There's a bunch of dirt that looks like it's been freshly dug.
No way he buried. No way he has all that knowledge to bury, kill someone and bury.
She throws herself on all fours. She starts digging until her fingers brush soft skin, and she lifts her baby nephew out of the dirt. And it looked like he had been in some sort of horrible car accident. I mean, she could hear ringing in her ears. She's panicking. And she looks at her son, and he just calmly says, I smashed his head with a brick. And she leaned over to the side and threw up.
And the 8-year-old
what the flip?
Dug a grave.
Wow.
Isn't that insane? That's at 8 years old. Like, all like killing the child, but at the same point, like burying the child, like getting rid of it as well is like, whoa,
in
that's
India,
insane.
I had our wonderful Indian researchers assist with gathering all of the data for this case, and honestly just helping understanding the cultural aspect to it all. Indian culture in some respects is very similar to Korean or even American culture, but there are some stark differences. So if there's any chance that there's any nuance of cultural significance that I wasn't able to fully grasp, please let me know. Or if there's anything else you want me to know about this case, let me know in the comments. And I'm sure you guys already know this, but a quick disclaimer. Okay, the actions of one individual does not reflect on the culture nor the Indian population as a whole. So with that being said, let's get into it. The police are sitting across from a serial killer in the interrogation room. Now,
serial killer?
A serial killer, yes. Now, usually there's a whole list of mind games that they play in order to get the serial killer to confess to their crimes. It's a little bit different versus a regular killer. Not that, like, okay, regular killer sounds weird, but you get what I'm saying. A serial killer, they have a tendency to kill a lot of people, and they have a lot Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's a little bit different from having just not a regular killer, but you get the idea. They handle
Oh,
serial
yeah.
killers in a different way. And serial killers, they like to play their games. It is not uncommon for serial killers to ask for things from the police. They say, ooh, before I start talking, before I tell you where the bodies are, before I confess to the crimes of these families,
Serial killers are
closure,
basically just psychopaths
maybe
or
I can get a
sociopaths.
cigarette around here.
Of course, to be a serial
What's the
killer,
guy
there has
gotta
to
do
be a
get cup
trend of
coffee?
the kills have to be in
Or maybe
a trend.
sometimes it's a full-on fast food order. A lot of them like to ask for these things because it makes them feel powerful. I mean, think about it. It's almost, when you're in the interrogation room, most people would think, I don't have the power here, the police have the power. But when a serial killer says, I've got information you desperately want, and I'm gonna make you sit here and watch me eat McDonald's until I decide I'm ready to tell you, it makes them feel like they hold all of the power. They wanna savor this moment. So the investigators in this case, they're sitting across from a serial killer, and they're asking, tell us why you did it. Why did you kill them? And he just says, I want some biscuits. Like the cookies, you know, the biscuit cookies that you dip in the tea. I want that, and I want a cup of tea. The investigators are annoyed, but I mean, what choice do they have, right? They walk out of the room, they get the cookies and the tea, and for a few minutes, they're sitting there in the interrogation room with the serial killer, watching him just munching on his packets of cookies and leisurely sipping his tea, as if they're just having afternoon tea with one another, as if they're old buddies from like the college days. Once the killer had his fill, he leans back and he starts talking. She was sleeping. I took her away and I killed her with a brick. I was like smashing the brick on her face, and then
It's
I
an
buried her.
8-year-old
I
child.
actually
Oh
didn't
my
feel that much
gosh,
excitement when I
bro.
tried strangling her because she wasn't fighting back. So that's why I chose the brick. I hit her a lot of times with the brick.
Oh, that's so dark.
Because
Oh my
you
gosh, that's
wanted
so
a
dark.
reaction
Yeah.
To have her fight back.
And when they ask, like, why? Like, still that doesn't answer why. That answers maybe how, but why? He just says, because I felt like it. I just wanted to. If one of the investigators had dropped their notepad or pen, because this is a shocking confession, when they leaned down to pick it up, they would have seen that the serial killer's feet did not even touch the ground. His legs were dangling off the interrogation room chair because he's 8 years old. This is the story of Amardeep Sada, the world's youngest serial killer ever. So, I mean, this is crazy, and I know with a lot of serial killers, we like to go into the childhood and figure out, like,
And then I guess
happened
when it
with
goes to
all
that
the
question,
schooling,
it's
which is, like, a big
hard. It's hard to
conversation
say
we
if
had
they're
on this
born
pod,
or
right?
made.
But Amardeep's childhood seems so normal, if not mundane, in some aspects. So
I
at
feel like
the
he's just entering childhood.
yeah, exactly, like the very barely there 8 years that he's been around town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even call it a childhood, I guess, right? He just started living.
Yeah.
So at the very beginning of his life, he was kind of like every other boy his age. His parents said that he was very rambunctious, and he went through the terrible toddler phase, the terrible twos phase. But I don't think it was something so alarming. I don't think anyone sat there and was like, this one is different. This one is extra wild. I mean, he would do the normal things, like he would lay like a starfish if you don't give him what you want, or sometimes you're like trying to take him out of the playground. He would pretend to be dead and go limp. And he was like that. When he didn't get the things that he wanted, he would just pout. He didn't care that his family wasn't financially well off. He just wanted the toys. He wanted what he wanted for dinner. I mean, he was just a kid, right? But how could his parents not adore him? He was their only son, their only child. And every morning, Amar's mother would get out her coal. It's like this black powder that can also be used as eyeliner. And she would dip her thumb in it and smear a dot on the side of Amar's forehead.
After this
And she
video, I
says-
will.
So this is a tradition where a black
felt
dot
trying
is
to
placed on
pause
the
it.
child's forehead.
After this
or cheek.
video.
It's supposed to ward off evil. It's supposed to ward off the evil eye. Yeah, and it's protecting the child from all the negative influences. And it's a very heartfelt, motherly thing to do. It's one of those like heartwarming symbols of a mom's love. His mom would do that for him every single day, and she would say, may no one cast an evil eye on you. I don't think that she had any idea that he was the one that was going out there to be evil. I mean, how could she? Her son is 8. Imagine calling a child evil. You would get canceled. You would get canceled all over social media. But imagine if that child is 8 years old, not even like 15, 16.
Okay.
No one would ever even consider the fact that an 8-year-old could knowingly do something malicious.
Is he a psychopath though?
And to
Like,
the adults,
is he
was
been
like this little
clinically?
angel. He was always known to be very smiley. That's what the neighbors said about him. Even the
Diagnosed
police, when they
as
interrogated
psychopath.
him, they said he smiled a lot. Like, just nonstop smiling. You ask him questions, he's gonna be smiling. He's telling you the story of how he killed people, he's smiling. When he's asking for cookies, he's smiling.
Porn addiction turns high IQ men into silent underachievers.
All right,
who are
man.
highly
Like, come on.
intelligent.
Alrighty, sir. That's AI as
So
well.
Amar's friends, on the other hand, I mean, he smiled at them too, but they were just, they were the only ones, it seems, that kind of noticed something off about him. He just played different. You know, when kids are playing, they're learning social skills, and they're learning what it means to joke around without actually being too mean. They're learning how to be aggressive and initiate play wrestling
is
without actually
grounds.
initiating a full-on war, a
Because
full-on
I'm thinking, right? Also, what's going on too? Because I'm thinking, if the child is a psychopath, then of course, I'm assuming they don't have the. What am I trying to say? he hasn't been diagnosed, right, since he's 8, and of how much surprise it was that it happened. And if it, of course, assuming there was, of course, signs, because of course you're going to see a sign if your child is a psychopath. Then theoretically, of course, there's a lot of things. Good morning to me. How you doing? Then, of course, there's a lot of things, right, that psychopaths they can't even conceptualize, like certain emotions, certain, I guess, breakers, right? That's just why they're different, is why they act and perceive stuff so different in such in a way that we can't truly put ourselves in the shoe on. And if you don't try to, I guess, protect them in a way, or trying to, I guess, mold them in a direction where they don't, I guess, depend on their when someone does something, it's like the impulses, then are they made? Because I would say they're born. See, that child was born a psychopath. But he was born a killer. It's a good point that you should remember later on when she says, okay, cool. But yeah, from what I know now, I don't know. I guess when I watch his video, I'm just thinking of it as a back on that question.
And then I'm sure you've met one of those people, even as an adult, where you're
like 8 years old is really flipping young to take a life. It's really flipping young. But again, for psychopaths, it's not the same as how we perceive a life. To be psychopath tendencies are generic in nature, generally speaking. His environment sounds normal, so it's like he's a sociopath, so not sociopath. Yeah, right? Because a psychopath is something that's born, sociopaths are made, right? It's very interesting, very peculiar, especially how young he is as well. For him to be a sociopath and to take a life that young, I feel like that would be very, very unrealistic.
like, ooh, I feel like they don't really grasp the concept of how to talk to people. Like, everyone is in a group and they're joking around lightly and they're like almost uplifting each other in their jokes. Like, they're not actually punching down. But then this person will come in and just absolutely rip people to shreds, light someone on fire with their insults, but they're laughing as if they're doing exactly what you're doing. And you're like, that is not what we're doing here. It was kind of like that, but in the more childish sense. So Amar's friend said that he was always extra aggressive. Like, there was just something about it, and it was very noticeable, but they couldn't tell him about it. They couldn't confront him about it. They didn't even know how. They're just...
What interesting happens in terms of his life? Like, ooh, okay, it's gonna get juicy.
For example, all of their friends would be play fighting or wrestling, pushing each other around. And then Amar would come in, and he would just start throwing down real punches as if he wants to hurt whoever the friend is that he's punching. But he's laughing as he's doing this.
So he feels like he's playing, but he's actually hurting people.
Yes. So the other kids, you know, they're still learning how to be around in these social settings. They don't know how to tell him, wait, that's not what we're doing. Because he could easily say, that is what you're doing. You're also punching and laughing, and I'm punching and laughing. But the way he's punching and laughing is like he genuinely is trying to hurt someone.
There's clearly signs.
I mean, thankfully he's 8 and he's a pretty scrawny kid, so none of his friends got seriously injured. But they would just kind of sit there and be like, that is so weird. It feels a little bit unpredictable and a little bit unhinged, a little bit scary for his friends. And they also said whenever we play
the worst thing that I do hate, like in parenting nowadays, who this could have been kind of prevented, is like the neglect of a child, of thinking, oh, the person's just a child, or they'll grow out of it or whatnot. And I'm not saying that if he had like one of his parents were like that he would have not taken their lives or anything. But just that general scope on like assuming that a child can never do wrong normally always turns out worse for the child.
We were at the age
especially
where
children like this.
we don't really throw tantrums in front of each other.
Like,
Like
anger issues and stuff.
Maybe we do that at home, but we're trying to be cool kids in front of each other. If he didn't win a game, he would whirl his arms around like a propeller, just smacking around anybody in his way. He would kick dirt around, and then he would march off home as if you personally attacked him. And everyone's like, okay, well, maybe he'll grow up. Maybe it'll get better once he starts growing up, right? But then he starts becoming a little bit antisocial in an angry way. So there would be instances where his neighborhood friends, they would be running in their group down to the little lake, and they would see him sitting on his front doorstep. So they're passing, and they would call out, hey, you want to come and play with us? And he would look at the ground, and he would say, I don't really want to. Just in like a really soft voice. And then they'd say, hey, why are you not playing with us anymore? Are we not your friends anymore? Yeah, it's been so long. Like, let's go for the swim in the pond. It'll be so fun. Out of nowhere, Amar would jump to his feet and start screaming from the bottom of his lungs, no, like screaming at them. They could see the veins on his neck. His face was turning red. I mean, they were honestly so spooked out about this. It's so weird. They would book it. They would book it out of there because it's creepy. So instead of playing with his friends, Amar would just isolate himself. He would spend more and more time by himself as he turned like 7 or 8 years old. He would climb trees and just stay up there for hours, staring at anyone that was walking by below him, or he would stay home and play with his toys by himself. Now, from all accounts that I could find, Amar was the bully. Like, literally all the sources are like, Amar was the bully. But Amar's mom didn't really think so. Okay, I think this goes to show you how much she doted on him, and this could play a huge factor in this case. But she genuinely babied him. Like, have you ever met those parents where their kids are an absolute menace to society, where they think that their kids are the ultimate victims to society? So Amar would come in, and there was this one time he had come in with grass stains all over his clothes. He had dirt all over his knees, he had a cut on his knee, and honestly it just feels like he was playing rough with his friends, or maybe he fell climbing up a tree. But his mom thought otherwise. She was cooking. She freaked out. She wiped her hands on her apron, and she's running up to him, like trying to get the dirt off of him. Like, what happened? What happened? He wouldn't say. So she thinks, oh my God, he's being bullied. The next day, she goes to get a holy amulet, which is, she goes to a Hindu priest and asks for a holy amulet, which is considered an object with great spiritual powers. You wear it to protect you, and it offers blessings and guidance. It's like a tangible connection to the divine. And she gives it to him. And she's like, you gotta wear this so you don't get bullied. And he's like, no. This is disgusting and embarrassing. I don't want to wear this from you, Mom. And he's saying, absolutely not. The only way that she could convince him to wear it was to tell him that the amulet came from the Hindu deity of love, compassion, devotion, strength, and intelligence himself. So some people speculate this kind of goes to show maybe he had some sort of budding narcissistic personality disorder, where he felt like it was now worthy to be worn every single day if it was given from someone very powerful versus his mom. But he's 8, so I don't think we can really speculate, right? Now, Amar gave his mom a sly smile, and he snatches the amulet, and he wears it every single day now. And I just don't even think that Amar really considered how much his parents loved him. Like, his parents were under constant stress.
Very peculiar.
Okay, his dad, I believe his dad was the only one that was working, and he was a day laborer, meaning he would go to all these nearby farms, and he would ask, do you guys need any workers today? If they said yes, he would work that day and get paid for that one day. If they said no, he would have to move on to the next farm, and if all of them said no, he would have no work that day. It's just so unstable, and even when he did work, he was making basically pennies. The average wage for a day laborer in that area was around $2.50 or $3 per day, and that's
damn, no, even an hour? Bloody hell.
Do you want to take a second to touch on something?
Oh, I don't want it. I don't want to take the time and the test with it.
You guys already know.
Thank you.
So they genuinely don't know where their next meal is coming from. But they're still trying to give their son all the toys, all the food that he wanted. I mean, they couldn't say yes to him every single time, which, side note, he would throw an absolute tantrum every time that they said no. But at least they tried to give him anything that his friends would have. They were really happy with having a son. His parents were a bit traditional. This is also going to come into play in a second because it's all going to go to shit in 2 seconds and you're going to be like, why did this happen? So his parents were very traditional. They felt like a son was the best thing to happen to them. They felt like a son is an heir. They're someone that's going to live in your house, traditionally, and their wife is going to come live in your house with the son. They're going to have their own kids, and you're going to live with all of them, and they're going to take care of you as you get older. Meanwhile, having a daughter is kind of like a gift. You get to spend a good amount of time with her, and then you give her away to the husband's family. Side note, this is super traditional. Not everyone in India is like this, but Amar's family was super traditional. They really babied him, like really babied him. So, Amar's aunt, Meena, comes over one day, and she's like, I have a huge favor. I'm so sorry. This is Amar's mom's sister. Do you mind taking care of my 6-month-old son for just 1 month? I'm so desperate, you have no idea. So for the past 6 months, since the day that she had her baby boy, Meena has been dealing with physical, emotional recovery of giving birth, but also the burden.
She must be in tatters. Oh my day, she must be in tatters.
Up to their neck every single day for the past 6 months, and Meena finally, she found a job in the city where she could clean houses for a month. And it wasn't a job where she could take her son. She'd be cleaning people's homes day in, day out. She would start her mornings at 7 a.m., do chores as fast as she could, onto the next house, onto the next, and then probably be back at midnight, get back up at 7 a.m., 7 days a week, no off days. And at the end, they get to take home about $35 to $100 a month. Not per day, per month.
Wow.
Yeah. Meena needed this $100. It would be a life of a difference for their struggling family. I mean, no mom wants to part with their newborn child like that, but it's so that he could have his belly full. And it made sense to leave her baby boy with Parul, Amar's mom, because Parul was heavily pregnant with her second child. So she was going to be breastfeeding soon, and the nephew would also be breastfed, so she'd be kind of like a wet nurse, like a caretaker. Parul was like, I don't know, Meena. I mean, we're already drowning in bills. We can barely put food on the table. I don't know if we can take in another mouth to feed. Obviously, I want to help, but we're about to have another one on the way. Meena said, I can send you some of my money. So Parul could not say no. She agreed. And the day Meena was set to leave, she brought her son over. I don't know if I could verify his name, so we're just going to call him the baby boy. And Meena just cradled him, said a prayer for him, dabbed a bit of coal from her eyes to his forehead to protect him. And then she left. Meena was sad, but she's like, this is the right thing to do. Not only that, but this is like the second best place for my baby. If I can't take care of my baby, my sister is the second best place. Nobody's going to care for my baby like our family. So for the first week, Parul is just adjusting to have a newborn around. And she kind of thought it was good practice since she's going to be having a baby soon. It would have been 7 years since Amar had been an infant. So she's getting all these refreshers. She's using Amar's old clothes, old toys, old crib for the baby, as well as some of the things that Mina had left for her. And one morning, she's like, oh my God, I got to go to the market to buy some vegetables for dinner tonight. We're out of vegetables. So she swaddles the baby boy, places him into the crib, and she tells her son, keep an eye on the baby. I'm not going to be gone long. I'm just literally going down the street to get some veggies, okay? Amar nods and watches her rush out the door. Once he heard that door click shut, and this is from his confession, he jumped to his feet and walked to the crib. He stared down at the baby peacefully sleeping in front of him, and he starts kind of pinching his baby cousin's cheeks. Like lightly, you know, when you, with affection, kind of pinch a baby's cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then Amar pulled his arm back, gave it a second thought, paused, and then lifted his hand all the way back and slapped the baby on the face as hard as he could. And so, of course, his baby cousin starts waking up crying, crying from the shock and the pain, and Amar is smiling. To him, I guess there was something about the baby's cries that felt good, like some sort of achievement. It was his goal. And he keeps reaching up and down to slap, pinch, hit, all of these things, even scratching his cousin. He did this until his cousin's voice was scratchy and raw from all the crying.
Jesus Christ.
Eventually, the fun
How long was she gone?
Both his hands down into the crib. He might have even needed to tiptoe a bit to get all the way down to where the baby was laying because he's 7, okay? And he used his 2 small hands to wrap them around his cousin's even smaller neck, and he squeezed. He never broke eye contact. He watched as his cousin started wheezing, and then he watched as his cousin's eyes turned bright red. I mean, he didn't even stand a chance. Newborns can't fight back, but not only that, they're so utterly delicate, it can just take 15 seconds for a baby to lose consciousness from strangulation. The brain cannot go more than 4 minutes without oxygen. The cousin was dead before Parul could even get to the market.
What?
Oh, wow.
So Amar felt like he had more time. He grabbed his baby cousin and hauled him to the backyard. And at first he thought, okay, maybe I'm just gonna lay him in the grass. But it just didn't feel like enough. So he grabbed a nearby brick and started slamming it onto the delicate skull.
Jesus
and he did
Christ,
this until there was allegedly brain matter splattered all over the grass around.
That's flipping insane.
Why would you do that?
This becomes a thing that he seems to do quite a bit. Other sources say that he also tended to shove mud into their mouths, but that one was not as verifiable, so. And finally, when he felt satisfied enough, he grabbed the little family shovel nearby and starts digging this shallow grave. He places his cousin inside, and he starts pushing all of this dirt that he can find on top. Whatever left over of the brain matter, he went and sprinkled some dirt and loose grass, like loose, as if he just pulled it out and sprinkled it on top. Just sprinkled it on top, and then went inside. The whole thing took less than half an hour. When Parul came home, Amar seemed like he was deep in this like solo play session with his toy cars, just as if nothing had happened. And if you remember from the beginning of this episode, his mom is telling him, like, where did you hide the baby? Come on, this is not a fun prank. He leads her to the backyard and points at the ground where he had just buried his cousin. And he just straight up tells his mom everything. In almost this, in Korean we call it bang, which means just so blunt, to the point where it's like just not socially acceptable. He would say things like, yeah, I mean, I killed him. I hit him in the head with the brick. And she just lost it. Now, I don't know how she got through the next few hours. It's not like she could call her husband to come home because he was at work where she couldn't reach him. She couldn't call her sister for help. She couldn't even call the police because her motherly instinct told her that she couldn't turn in her own child.
Wow, no way.
So she waited until Amar's dad got home. And what he did is also very confusing. He grabbed his belt and beat Amar within an inch of his life. Amar kneeled in front of them, and he's bleeding. He's like a mess. And the parents are pacing around the house trying to figure out what to do next, and they're trying to reason with themselves. They're like, he's just a kid, you know? There's just no way that he knew what he was doing. He probably doesn't even know what death is, right? And they were probably just playing, and I mean, there's no way that he meant to do this.
Oh.
But what do we do? We have a body.
Are we being serious?
No, that's gonna ruin his life.
It's just neglect, bro.
Punish him so badly that he will never ever think of doing something like this ever again.
Like, are we being serious? Like, the brain matter on the flipping grass and then burying the child? Oh, he's just a kid? It's just a level of neglect, bro. Like, I'm not, if anything, if this is how it's been his whole life, I'm not even surprised he turned out this way. Especially as it's clear that he's a psychopath.
No, what's done
it's
is
not
that
surprising
going
at
to the
all.
police is not gonna change anything. So they wait. And a month later, when Mina walks through the door, she saw the couple sitting on the couch waiting for her.
And like, he didn't even have a sliver of guilt. Like, oh my gosh, if you've been around a child that's under the age of 10, even if like they drop a play, they're gonna act guilty. They're gonna lie and say they didn't do it. They're gonna, I don't know, hide or run into another room or just profusively like cry and be like play the victim role. He clearly was like doing that's like what's expected of a psychopath who does a kill that fully explained the death, fully like they want to be found. You know what I mean? Like it's almost a trophy to explain how they did what they did. And also, I was thinking, right? You know how the baby was wearing all of her all his old clothes. I don't know if that also probably has a part to play. The fact that, like, of course, if he had the knowledge to know that that was his past clothes and whatnot, that also could low-key have a part to play in why he took his life.
And they were like at the edge of their seats, as if they had been waiting on her.
Yeah,
and it's just
maybe.
unsettling. It's weird. And she's like, "Hey guys, what's going on? Like, why are you guys so serious?" It said that Amar's dad got up, walked up,
And
straight
especially like the story as he was slapping, pinching once he realized that like he can take so much advantage over him and he can do whatever he wants. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my God. What the blue have I done? No, what have I done? Where was I? Where was I?
old toys, old crib for the baby, as well as some of the things that Mina had left for her.
No, I actually pressed the wrong button when I tried to unpause it. Hold on, it should be here.
She agreed somewhat with the logic that Amar's life would be ruined and it wouldn't bring, what's done is done. Going to the police is not going to change anything. They're like, he's just a kid, There's just no way that he knew what he was doing. He's just a kid. We can punish him ourselves, punish him so badly that he will never ever think of doing something like this ever again. What's done is done. Going to the police is not going to change anything. So they wait. And a month later, when Mina walks through the door, she saw the couple sitting on the couch waiting for her. And they were like at the edge of their seats, as if they had been waiting on her. And it's just unsettling. It's weird. And she's like, "Hey guys, what's going on? Like, why are you guys so serious?"
Nina.
It said that Amar's dad got up, walked up straight to Mina, and dropped to his knees. "What's going on? What are you doing?" And he said, "Please, it was just an accident." Mina was so confused, so she's looking at her sister, who's sobbing on the couch, and her face is in her hands. Her whole body is shaking. In between sobs, she says, "Amar and the baby were playing, but there was an accident, and now he's dead, and we had to bury him because the neighbors were going to find out."
Her heart probably fell through her
So they
arse at that
begged,
point.
with a hysterical Mina, "Please, you cannot let this get out. His life is going to be ruined, and it's not like it's going to change anything. We will carry this burden for the rest of our lives. I will promise you that." It said that Mina looked for Amar, her son's killer, and he was hiding halfway behind a door, and he was peeking out with half of his body, like half of his face was visible. And it said that she didn't need to see his whole face to know that he was smiling.
Wow.
So for whatever reason,
That's heavy.
Mina agreed not to file charges. Maybe it was for her sister. Maybe she agreed somewhat with the logic that Amar's life would be ruined and it wouldn't bring back her son. And not only that, but I think a big aspect is it would probably ruin her family relationship. Not just with her sister, but probably with everybody else too. I mean, even if they don't know what's going on, it's going to be tense. It's going to be family drama. Not that, this isn't, but for whatever reason, the police never found out. And within 6 months, it's like Amar's parents forgot the whole thing. I mean, they really dote on him. I don't know if I want to call it the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if I want to call it like the son syndrome, which I've experienced in South Korean culture, which is when parents are so obsessed with their sons.
Yeah.
They think like their sons
That's very
are
consistent in South Korea.
Jesus Christ reincarnated. I don't know.
Really
Maybe
weird.
it's that. But they just like put it past them. They pushed the accident. That's what they considered it, an accident, to the back of their minds. And their logic was, this is a one-time mistake. A mistake that a child made because they didn't know better. And now he knows better. He knows that hitting people with bricks is not a thing that you do. Side note, I personally feel like that's not something that needs to be taught, but here we are. And the parents believed wholeheartedly Amar just didn't know better at the time, which is why they felt like it was okay to bring another infant into the house. This time, it was Amar's baby sister.
They brought another one?
She gave birth.
Oh my gosh.
And his parents were so ecstatic. They had always
Oh
wanted
my
1.1 girl
gosh.
in that order. And they sat Amar down, let him hold his baby sister for the first time, and they told him, "This is your little sister. Your big brother now. You have to protect and look after her. This is your job. Do you understand?" And he would smile and nod.
Pride of
And for
he's
while,
a
everything
killer.
in the house was normal. Like Amar was back to climbing trees, scraping his knees, living his best life. Which, side note, imagine being the aunt and seeing Amar live the life that your own son will never get to live. Like, I don't know how I could even face any of them after that.
Honestly, like,
Amar was actually good for a
I
minute.
just think they would
He was good with
learn,
his sister.
man.
His parents would smile as they would walk by, and Amar would be sitting by his little sister's crib, watching over her protectively. Or they would all be eating dinner together, and his little baby sister would eat peas for the first time, and she would flick them at people, and he would just smile so lovingly. And as the baby sister got a little bit older, a few months old, she started smiling back at him. Until one afternoon, the whole family was having quiet time. I don't know if you guys have quiet time in your family, but it's usually after lunch. So the whole family is instructed to go back to their rooms to do something quiet.
Never had
Like
that
after lunch, you
that
go read a book,
concept
you
in my
nap, you
life.
do puzzles, whatever it may be. You cannot be loud, you cannot turn on the TV. So Parul and her husband were taking a nap in their rooms, and I believe their door was open. The baby was in her crib taking a nap as well, and the baby wasn't inside their room, but because their door was open and their house was not big, they could hear everything. I mean, if they heard that baby cry, they could be there in like 5 seconds, max. Amar was in his room, quietly playing with his toys. And at this point, a full 8 months had passed since Amar's cousin was killed by Amar. And I'm not sure why.
There's only 8
Perhaps out of sheer
months?
boredom,
Jesus
curiosity,
Christ.
or just some sort of sick, deranged twistedness. Amar got up, tiptoed his way over to his little sister's crib. She wasn't asleep. She was staring blankly at the ceiling. She's kind of half smiling at Amar as he's staring over her. He leans down as if he's going to pick her up. And then as fast as lightning, his hands wrap around her neck. Her airway is completely obstructed. She could not cry or scream. She could only wave her arms and kick her legs. He used all of his might to strangle her, and eventually even her legs stopped kicking. He stared at her limp body for maybe a few seconds before he slithered back into his room, just leaving her like that in the crib. He went back to playing with his toys as if nothing had happened.
Brother.
When his parents woke up, he heard them make their way to the baby's crib. And Parul saw that her baby girl was just sleeping, so she leaned down to kind of stroke her cheek, and as soon as she touched her chubby little cheek, she jerked her hand back. Her baby's skin was cold, like stone cold. And she turned around and she called for her husband, and in the corner of her eye she could see Amar, and he was playing with his toys on the floor. She marched up to him. "What have you done? What have you done? Did you kill your sister?" Amar looked up and nodded. Some sources say that he was smiling.
Oh my
Amar's
gosh, this is
father,
actually
raised his
infuriating.
hand
I
up
can't even
and
speak.
slapped the
It's
8-year-old with
annoying.
the entire force of a full-grown
It's
man.
annoying.
That effectively knocked the smile out of Amar's face. He started sobbing on the floor. His parents are screaming, "Why? Why would you do this? Why did you do this? Answer the question." Amar's mom was on the floor, like hysterical. She was losing her mind, rightfully so. It got to the point where neighbors started gathering outside their door because there was so much of a ruckus. They wanted to know if they were okay. Some of the neighbors actually rushed in through the door without knocking because they thought something horrible was happening to the family. And when they run in, they're processing the scene. The entire family is in the living room. I mean, the parents are beyond hysterical. It's not even like they got robbed. Like, the feeling is something terrible, terrible happened. Amar is being punished, and there's a dead baby in the crib.
Oh, they saw the dead baby?
Yeah, so they're putting 2 and 2 together, these neighbors.
Please say one.
They try to calm down the father, Amar's father, and
Yeah,
reason
has
with
to
him.
be.
We have
Has
to
to
report
be.
this to the police. You have
Has
to
to
put
be
a stone in your heart.
psychopathic, like.
It's going to be rough, but you have to do it. And the dad allegedly said, "No, I'm going to kill him myself." The neighbors had to physically hold him back. Now, Amar is sitting there, just tears running down his face, and he's angry now. You know when you scold a child for too long, sometimes they get angry, I guess? And he's screaming like a petulant child, "So what if I killed her?" And, I mean, even the neighbors didn't know what to say.
Freaking way.
They got quiet on this one. Like, so what? So what? How do you even answer that? It's almost as if he's asking, "So what if I ate the cookie before dinner? Why should I be punished for something that's not the end of the world?" And the neighbors are like, "Okay, we can't do anything about this." So they silently hush each other out of there. I mean, there was nothing that they could do to help now. This kid was beyond helpable in their belief. And the next 2 days, they just anxiously waited around to see if Amar's parents had gone to the police. Instead, they showed up at each neighbor's doorstep with a favor. "If you could just please keep quiet about what you saw. It's a family matter, and we'd like to handle it within our
man, it's
family.
not a family
We're gonna make sure that
matter.
Amar learns his lesson, so please, we're already suffering, so don't make it worse for us. If you want to help, just please stay quiet." I think the parents' logic
Awful
was they already
parents,
lost one child,
absolute
and putting
awful
another one in
parents,
jail
bro.
would be effectively losing him as well. I think that they also hoped that they could maybe beat the murderous tendencies out of their son. I guess they thought, he's just 9. Maybe we can teach him for the next decade what he did is bad, and eventually he can move on, get a job, get a wife, have children of his own.
You want him to have
Listen,
children?
I'm not sure I'm on board with this logic, but also I've never been a parent, so maybe I wouldn't know. Leave it in the comments if you're a parent. Like, does this logic make
He would
sense?
have
Or is
like
this
had
kinda
children
crazy?
just to like try out new killing
There is
techniques
some
at this
cultural
point.
context as well.
He
So
genuinely has
especially in
issues.
rural areas, the family last name is, it's everything. It's kind of like that in East Asian culture as well. I
Oh,
think
that's
Japan,
not-
from what I hear, has a very
there's no
strong
update.
belief in this. But family members want their last names to have esteem, high regard, respect, or at least, in the lowest situations, be a neutral name. So doing something that disrespects the family, it doesn't just look bad on you, it looks bad on the whole family. At this point, the Sada family were known around town as hardworking, respectable. If word got out that Amar killed his own baby sister, their whole family would suffer. I mean, Amar's dad might not be able to even get a job or put food on the table for the whole family. Their family will not be able to escape this reputation for probably generations. That's how bad it is. I suppose they maybe didn't want to cause even more harm to their extended family members as well. I guess their logic was, well, it's not going to bring back the 2 victims.
Assume it's free.
So they convinced themselves they're going to punish Amar so deeply, so badly, that he's never going to do this again. Side note, his cooldown period was 8 months between his first and second murder. He only waited 8 months. The first cool-off period is usually the longest, and sometimes with certain serial killers, it can last like a year or even longer. But his was only 8 months, and he's
very quick.
So I don't know what the psychology behind that is, honestly. Maybe the time would have been shorter if he had access to another infant, or maybe, you know, you can't help but wonder, maybe if his parents hadn't chosen to forget the first incident, would there even be a second incident? Well, one thing's for sure, the neighbors would never forget. Khushbu's mom was not a neighbor. She didn't even know Amar, but she did have an 8-month-old daughter named Khushbu, who would have been very difficult to run errands with. So Mrs. C is what we're going to call her, the mom. She had a few errands to run on her
bro,
list.
Don't tell me she gave them the child. Don't tell me she gave them the child, bro. Bro, don't tell me, don't tell me she gave her the child.
And she chose this local daycare. Okay, like remember how I said there's not really daycares? It's not really a daycare. A lot of sources indicate that it seems more like it was a business run out of someone's home. And there were a lot of moms just watching a ton of kids for the neighbors. There wasn't like cameras. It wasn't an established business. There wasn't a certain number of like regulations they were following. It's like an at-home daycare. Now, Khushbu had already fallen asleep on the way to the daycare, so it was kind of perfect. Mrs. C would run her errands, drop the groceries back off at her home, and be back to pick up Khushbu before she even woke up from her afternoon nap. By the time she gets back to the daycare, you guessed it, Khushbu, who was once sound asleep, is gone. She's gone. She's not there.
Oh, physically gone.
Physically gone.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean,
oh my gosh, are you serious?
She's not there. Dead. Khushbu, who was
oh
once
my
sound
gosh, are we
asleep,
serious?
is gone.
No, it's becoming comical at this point.
Oh, physically.
It's like it literally feels like it feels like hearing. It deadass feels like hearing. It deadass feels like hearing a terribly poorly written TV show. Like what the flip? Like what the flip? What the flip? They're giving her another baby and they're accepting the baby.
There were a lot of crazy toddlers running around, and because this was an underserved area, there were no door locks, childproofing, security cameras, or even like a receptionist watching the front desk at all times. It was, you know, it just wasn't that secure. And I'm sure if Khushbu was crying and woke up crying, one of the daycare workers would have noticed and heard and rushed over to the room and helped her, but she was just gone. You know, and the locals, they start freaking out. They start full-on panicking. They had no idea where she had gone. Could someone really have come in and taken her? That doesn't make sense. I mean, when you think of someone that goes into a daycare and steals a child, I'm sure we all have like the same kind of image in our head. It's like this older man, looks creepy, looks like a serial killer. But the daycare workers would have noticed. Are you kidding? It's not that big of a space. I mean, she's too small to run off on her own, so this doesn't make sense either.
She's over 8 months, can't even barely walk at 8
about all the
months.
possibilities. Well, maybe there was a nasty man who's going around kidnapping children, and maybe he's so good at being discreet. Maybe the daycare workers accidentally hurt her, and now they're trying to cover for it. There were so many speculations running through people's minds, but once the news traveled, and it traveled fast, by the way, once it traveled to Amar's home and to all of his neighbors, they're all looking at each other like, I don't think we're looking for some 50-year-old creepy man. I think it's Amar. It actually wasn't a neighbor that reported Amar. It was one of Amar's own family members, an auntie of his, who had heard of everything that happened with both the victims. And she quietly found Khushbu's mom, pulled her to the side and said, I heard about what happened. I don't really know how else to put this, but I have this nephew, and he's got a history, if you will, of just doing some
It's
evil things to
3:22
babies.
3:22
I feel
a.m.
like he's involved. People did not take this lightly. This is coming from an extended family member. Like, you just don't say things like this. Even the idea that a small kid could do something so evil is out of this world. It just doesn't make sense that this was a baseless accusation or a lie. Amar was now suspect number one. The entire community formed an angry mob and stormed up to the Seda house. They demanded that the parents bring Amar to them. Initially, his parents tried to reason with the crowd. They're standing on the porch like, he's just a boy. How could he be responsible for this? Think about it, everyone. He's a boy. You guys have kids. Think about it. Besides, bring us the evidence and we will bring you Amar.
What? They've literally, bro, let's be real.
Outside until Amar was finally pushed out of his own home. He stepped out onto the porch in front of the crowd, and allegedly they were screaming, tell us what you did. Tell us what you did to that baby girl. Some people said he smiled as he said this, but he bluntly stated, I killed her. And the mob of people dragged Amar from his porch and demanded he take them to where Khushbu was. He led them to the edge of town, and there was like a little pile of rocks covered with dirt and grass. And he pointed right there. The mob ran to the police, and they didn't care that Amar's parents didn't want to ruin his life. Now their own children, their own
are we serious? Are we serious? How many? If the neighbors and the family didn't do anything, I wonder how many kids he would have had to kill until they would have said, you know what, maybe we have to tell the police. Maybe like 13 kids at this point, because 3 kids down the flipping line, and they didn't want to tell the police.
So they ran all the way to the police
Oh
station
my
and told them everything that
gosh.
they knew. And side note, Mrs. C would
Like, are we just brain dead nowadays? Like, what the flip?
How it all went down. She stated that Amar came up to her directly and asked if he could play with the baby. And she stated she didn't think much of it because she was running errands and this is like a cute little 8-year-old boy. So she was like, okay, I guess you can play with my baby.
Yes, I think 15
She
minutes
shared
left.
that version?
Yes, later on. So, okay, the story contradicts Mrs. C's own police reports from the day of the incident, as well as a ton of witness testimonies. It also contradicts Amar's own confession. So most people don't believe that this new version of events is the true version.
But why?
Yeah, so there's some speculations. Nobody knows exactly why. Some people speculate it's because the daycare that she dropped Khushbu off wasn't really a daycare. Some speculate that she just kind of dropped her baby off somewhere in like the public space.
No, this is real. This
run
is real
errands,
life.
And then she like made up the daycare story and then was like, ooh, then they're gonna want to know which daycare and all of that. Then some people stated, oh no, she actually went to a daycare, but she probably didn't want that daycare to get the heat. So then she changed her story. Either way, I don't think that her new story is the real version of events. But Amar had taken another life. He was finally arrested May 30th of 2007, and he quickly confessed
Wow, this
everything
was
to the police.
time ago. What the
And
flip?
this is where the case is so confusing.
I was barely
Amar said he
alive.
wanted to confess because his parents taught him that lying is bad.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, every time someone
It's
asks him
throw
to
the
say
prison, throw the prison, throw the prison, the family,
This is
throw the
so
parents in
So
prison as
lying
well
was
at this
like a
point,
cardinal
bro.
sin for him. Clearly, he didn't think murdering 3 people was that bad. When asked about why he killed them, he said, because I wanted to. I didn't see why I shouldn't. A lot of people, including myself, are so confused about this case because ultimately Amar had 2 parents that loved him, maybe a bit too much, but they loved him. He had a roof over his head.
So that's
he
why
had
it was
food on the
always
table,
honest.
He had tons of neighborhood friends.
Yeah,
before
but
he pushed
even
them.
even though that's no, even yeah, he thinks lying is bad. But even if you do something that bad, even it doesn't seem like he even has the emotion of guilt, right? So that's even points more to the destination that he is a psychopath. Like I doubt we even need to have that conversation. Like he is, but like yeah, there's level of poise that's always common in psychopaths. It's particularly what gives defense to their lack of empathy, which makes one of them the more dangerous. They're actually like psychopaths are terrifying, and they all need to be like diagnosed and get the right help they need.
All the
Because
way.
just leaving them in the
And
world
question around
and
this case is
with parents
the
like
killer
this
born,
is
or
always
is the
going to
killer
turn out
made?
like this.
Or is it a bit of both? I feel like a long time ago, we actually did an episode where we theorized a bit. And quick disclaimer, I'm not an expert, I'm not a psychologist. But we were talking about how it seems like some people start out fine and then suddenly their lives just start spiraling into this black hole of crime, like a just rabbit hole of death. And you can see cases where the killer is just like all the other kids growing up. And the only difference is maybe they have like a slightly abusive parent or a slightly absent parent, or maybe they have a bully at school. Or the most random one that I've seen in so many cases is they fall off a swing and hit their heads.
yes.
And it's like, it's happened so many times, and it's just the weirdest. It's weird. It seems like that's a key moment that has them going 50 miles an hour towards the dark side, falling off a swing.
Yeah, so there's definitely brain injury.
Yeah,
happens.
to the frontal lobe is what people suspect.
Yeah.
But it makes you wonder, okay,
Well, it
if
makes
that hadn't
sense.
happened, would they have lived a different life? But then again, there's a ton of people who are dealt much worse cards and they never kill anyone.
Yeah,
So it can't
always
just be the
smiling as
environment.
well.
So maybe the
Very
conclusion
honest,
is a
trying to
little bit
hide
both.
debate like
So
the
let's say
victim
each time a
other than
person is
his own
born,
sister.
they're either born a
Even
teddy
then,
bear
he tried to
or as
run
a
and I
gun.
guess make
And
an
as they
alibi.
live life, all the
of
little
him just
bits of
playing with
trauma, or
toys and
sometimes
whatnot.
even perceived trauma, become bullets. And you can put a bullet in a teddy bear, but it's not going to do anything but hurt the teddy bear. But if you put bullets continuously into a gun, all it takes is a little bit of pressure, and boom. And again, this is no way of excusing it. Like, being born a certain way is no excuse to take a life or hurt another person, but that's kind of how I explain it in my head to make it make sense. It's obviously oversimplified, but it's weird that so many people can live such similar lives, such traumatic lives, and one is a killer and one is a guidance counselor / activist that helps others. So the only way that I can try and understand today's case is, I was thinking, okay, if Amar had committed these crimes when he was older, like when he was in his 20s, I would probably assume that he was born a gun and through life trauma, he became a serial killer. But he's 8. He's 8.
Yeah, that's...
I wouldn't
So
say that.
do we just conclude that he was born a fully
What trauma
loaded
does he
gun?
have?
Were there any additional things that have pushed him over the edge at such a young age? Honestly, I don't know. I tried to comb through all of the research, and obviously with the help of our wonderful researchers, there's just a few things.
Yeah,
that
he
we
did
can
probably.
find,
His
and
parents
I'm not
beat
even
him.
sure how much these
That
contribute.
So
Amar's
they probably
family
did
was part of the
beat
scheduled
him
caste,
prior, but
aka
still.
the untouchables in India. We did a case that covered the caste system. Side note, the caste system has since been abolished in India, but from what my researchers have told me, in a lot of parts of India, the system is
so
very
even
much
before they
upheld
didn't beat him,
socially.
okay.
Can you explain that again?
So actually,
so
what trauma did he have?
Is a social power pyramid, to put it simply. And we have the same thing in the US. It's just not as rigid. We've got the upper class, then we've got the middle upper class, then the middle class, then the middle lower class, then the lower class. You get it.
DVD.
That's basically it. But with the caste system, it's based on who you're born into, which I guess is the same in America, right? So the people at the top of the pyramid, they're the priests, they're the scholars, they are considered like the custodians of knowledge. And then under them, you have warriors and rulers. They're the ones that protect the land and the people. And then below that, you have merchants and farmers. Okay, the way I see it is like you've got academic elitists, then you've got maybe business owners, landowners, and then you've got white-collar workers, blue-collar workers. It's kind of that pyramid. At the bottom, you have laborers and servants. And these castes, they make up a pyramid. But then there's this other rectangle that's not part of the pyramid. It's underneath the pyramid, and it's not touching the pyramid. It's completely separate. This is the untouchable caste.
Oh, yes, yes.
It's really sad. They're born into a life of discrimination, and they're considered unpure and untouchable by other higher castes. Usually the only jobs that this caste can have access to is sewage cleaning, handling animal carcasses, and scavenging. It's said that if they're even able to get a job in an area where other higher castes live, they have to work at night so the higher castes won't even see them, or accidentally, oh my god, touch them. Hence the name untouchables, or even the scheduled caste. They aren't allowed to touch other cast members or their belongings. And if you're like, okay, well, this sounds like a long time ago, I will say a lot of things are changing in India, but in 2020, a man of the scheduled caste was allegedly stripped naked in public and beaten because he touched an upper caste man's motorcycle.
Jesus, not even his, what the
flip?
Not even hit what the flip? That's insane. Oh my gosh.
I mean, socially, it's going to be very hard to get rid of.
Let's all just get a charge. Let's all take a charge.
2 boys were allegedly stripped and beaten for swimming in a well that belonged to an upper caste family.
Jesus.
Women in the scheduled caste are a lot more vulnerable to physical and sexual violence because they're literally seen as less
hierarchy, bloody hell.
And please correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a lot of people try to uphold this system because, well, for one, I'm sure as long as you're not in the bottom, you benefit. So you want to uphold the system that rewards you. But in addition to that, my researchers told me that the Hindu reincarnation belief suggests that your actions in this life influence how you will be reincarnated in your future life. So I know when you, like, I know as a Westerner or someone that's not familiar with this, it almost feels like, oh wait, that's literally just discrimination. Okay, how are they okay with that? But if you believe in reincarnation, and if you believe that if you live a really good life and you're very faithful, you will have a chance of being reincarnated into a more privileged setting. If you commit a crime or if you don't lead a good life, you're going to be reincarnated into a lower caste. So a lot of people who follow this theology believe that their caste position is a result of their own deeds in their past lives, and not luck, and not being born into it, and not being like a sperm fight. So they feel like they deserve whatever caste they're in. It's to the point that a lot of people in the scheduled caste actually believe that they must have lived terrible lives before this.
I do how crazy that
Again,
could be.
this is from my personal research online and assistance from our
I
Indian
must have been a
researchers.
terrible person
I'm no
my first
expert
life.
in Hindu
That's
theology,
crazy.
so please let me know if there's other components to this in the comments.
mentally
And I do
crazy.
want to reiterate, I would say that
Very
modern
interesting.
India, like most people in India, are like, this caste system sucks. Like, why are people still socially upholding it? I think they're trying to, the government is trying to do like some sort of, would you call it restitutions? They're trying to give more opportunities to the scheduled caste to uplift them now. But it was rough. So Mar was part of this social caste, and I'm sure that his life was impacted deeply by this, but I don't think that's an excuse because,
Oh, so it's really
I mean,
Yeah, just this is just unheard of. Whatever.
even
Yeah,
then
and
though,
so-
2 years ago too. Even then though, even if he was part of that class, he was still a kid, right? So like, I doubt he would have done anything, or I doubt he would have got punished in these
people
ways.
speculate that he was always
Like a
jealous of
grown
other
man
kids,
probably would've.
but I don't know, and like maybe that jealousy led to this anger and hatred for children. I don't really think so.
It's just crazy because as an adult you can kind of like analyze their behavior.
Yeah.
But when someone's at 8, their brain's not even developed yet. So I don't even know like how can you have to have like a child specialist to analyze that.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's going on. Like I don't even know at what stage of learning is he at. Like what is he learning right now?
Yeah, I would say even in a lot of serial killer cases that we've covered, they usually start hurting animals maybe around this age, but even then, probably a little bit later. I feel like 8 is usually the age where they're still being victimized by someone or something in their lives, and then once they get a little bit bigger, maybe like early teens, that's when they start being a menace, and they're like, let me take it out, let me be the perpetrator, and they start doing things to animals, typically, is like from at least what I've seen the pattern of, but this is crazy. I mean, at 8, to not even, I don't want to say start with animals, to not even have this escalation that most serial killers have, but just to go straight into killing is, I don't know. I mean, to put it simply, a lot of people think that he just experienced euphoria and satisfaction by inflicting pain. He chose infants because they could fight back, for him to get that satisfaction, but not enough that he would lose the power position.
Yeah.
Some people state that he also just doesn't have an innate moral compass like most humans do. Actually, a lot of psychologists who work with him stated this. So you know how even as kids, you know when something doesn't feel right? You're like, okay, most people aren't taught not to steal, but you know, like it's just like human nature to know that this is not right. Like you're like, this is wrong. He doesn't seem to have that. They also speculate that he must have a chemical imbalance in his brain that made him dangerous. A psychotherapist who works at one of India's top institutes for medical science said, such aggression, it may be hereditary and may be caused by great levels of chemical upheaval in the brain.
Yeah,
There's
he's
gotta be
definitely like
something
an
in the brain.
anomaly.
Yeah.
Side note, there is no evidence that anyone in this family was violent. His dad used physical punishment with Amar, but so did a lot of parents in India and around the world. And again, I'm not saying like physical punishment is right, but it just doesn't seem to be a direct or only cause of why he did what he did. It just doesn't
That's
seem
a
to
husband,
have
right, my tweaky. I know she never shows a
violent
husband.
or harsh conditions from his parents or even his environment. So in the end, Amar was charged with the murder of Kashbu. He wasn't charged with the murders of his sister or his cousin because his family did not want to press charges against him.
Wow.
Whatever.
Wow, but he still
Whatever.
There
Whatever.
needs to be a charge for that to happen?
Yeah.
Whatever.
And, from what I am able to decipher right now, his mom is like denying it now. She's like, actually, he never killed anybody else. So it's kind of a mess. Yeah.
Wow.
Also, under Indian law, a minor cannot be sentenced to death or sent to prison for longer than 3 years.
Oh,
He can spend
amazing.
his time until he's an adult, locked away, but it's probably going to be in
Amazing.
like a juvenile detention facility. Yeah.
Amazing.
So the exact record
So
of
he's
his sentence is
definitely
unknown,
out.
but it's assumed that he spent at least 3 years in prison, or like max 3 years in prison, and then he went to a juvenile detention center until he was 18.
He's definitely out.
So wait,
he's
when
definitely
was
over
this? Was
18.
it 2000?
Oh, he's out. He's
Oh,
free.
he's out right now.
Yeah, he's free. He should be 23 now? Yeah.
Super.
Wait, is
No
my math
way.
correct? Yeah.
And do people know where he is?
No. Okay, so rumor has it that he changed his name to Samarjit.
Yeah, he's 100%
and
free.
He has since gotten married.
18,
Rumor
18,
has
he got
it.
transferred
And
to-
lives
yeah,
with
actual
his
prison.
mother.
Should be like
Rumor
that.
has it. But other
20
than that,
he's
he has
25,
stayed completely
yeah,
under the radar. We really don't know anything more
Yeah, he's
about
born
him other than his
1999.
age, a rumored new name, and the fact that he's free.
Yeah, he should be 999.
That's it.
No, he's older than that. He should
A
be
lot of netizens believe that
27,
Amar has a high chance of committing crimes again. And it's not because people like him cannot be rehabilitated. I don't want to be the one to say that because that just sounds so depressing. But it's less about the fact that, you know, facilities like prisons and juvenile detention centers anywhere in the world, they're not brimming with money. It's not like they have the resources in the world to actually get people help.
26, yeah, 27 this year.
So they think that it's only a matter of time.
This happened 2027, he was 8, so 999, yeah, or 998, I guess. Well, he was probably around 26, 27.
Time until he does something else.
What's going on,
after
Airman?
being released. Others have stated if we haven't heard anything, he must have changed.
Oh, he was 9.
But I don't
So
know.
he's
there
even
are a lot
older.
of discussions on whether or not he should be given the chance to grow, because he was 8.
Sorry, it's 2007. There you go. Yeah.
It's confusing. Is this,
You predicted the future. I do remember you.
What are your thoughts on this? Do you think 8-year-olds should be able to change, even if they were serial killers, or what if they committed essay, like something deplorable, or do you feel like, well, commit adult crimes, do adult time? What are your thoughts? Leave it.
That's a
in
good
the
talking
comments.
point.
Please stay safe. Sorry about my voice. I was coming down with a cold, so I sound so nasally. and
She's
stuffy,
very
but
good at what she
please
does,
stay
though.
safe.
Bloody
And
hell,
I'll
she
see you
made
guys
it
on
very
Wednesday for the
engaging.
main episode.
What was I gonna say though? Him being free is a concept for two things. It depends how good, right? The I guess the rehabilitation process is. No, it definitely is a concept. Like over time, especially depends how good a prison is. Someone of his caliber, he should be in a mental health prison, a mental health, mental health facility. I doubt he is, but you watch Longer Than Liver Told You. It's true. No, it's good videos I watch. It's a good video. That was a flipping good video. But I doubt, like, how good was his rehabilitation? And especially because he was. People who are under that caste in India, they put under more harsher conditions in prison. Like, is that ideology that resembles also in the prisons, or in prison everyone's just treated like a prisoner, if that makes sense? Because if he's treated a lot more differently, then he definitely wasn't getting the mental health help that he probably needed. So on the tour with your bio. We practicing. What a story. Bloody hell, what a story. The lower you are in the caste system, the worse the condition you're subjected to on average. Oh, wow. So he definitely wasn't getting mental health help he probably needed. Like, of course, transitioning the ideology. Because I'm thinking, like, if it was, like, in the UK, just because I'm familiar with the UK system, and if someone of his caliber was at that mentally harbored, there would be more in a mental health facility. That is. No, I love the video. Because, of course, I watched her on TikTok. I know she's engaging, but I've never watched a full-on YouTube video. Because I know videos are long. But that felt very short. The video felt very, very short. Then at least I would trust, that... Yeah, you can dribble for a VC. It's just, it'll be like, when people are talking, it'll just be delayed. They go very well. Like, at least I know that, like, okay, over time, that, like, especially the mental health wards for those many years, at least I can trust they come back into the real world with, you know, with being possibly a changed person. So at the end of the day, especially those type of parents, again, I don't want to say that those lives were... Yeah, you can. Tory joins VC without talking. You're fine. Not to say those lives were almost guaranteed to pass away, but that child was in a predicament where he wasn't helped. If you get what I mean, like, it's not, like, hearing the whole story, it is not surprising that he ended up taking the lives that he did. Like, his parents are flipping awful, and I really hope they never had more kids. Not in a cynical way, but clearly they don't know how to take care of children, especially a child that is not the same as, I guess, you know. No, talk on streams already. Okay, I got you. Like, brother, yo, that was a good flipping video, though. That was a good flipping video. W video suggestion. What did y'all think? Bloody hell. How would you react in their shoes, Toby? I think the thing is, right, I feel like when the advice I'm about to give, like, not advice, what I'll do in their shoes is very, very privileged. Especially because I think a big struggle is the cultural environment that they're living in, with the surnames and how much weight a surname puts with the caste system they're under. It's easy to say what you're saying, but yeah, that's the thing, right? What I'm saying is very, very privileged. It's very, very privileged. But like, I guess, and like, of course, the surname thing, them being in the caste, is very privileged. But what I would say is the thing what I can see from my perspective, which is not, like, my opinion is not filtered by, you know, privilege of, you know, being in a different country, growing up in different culture standards, is how they reacted after the first death. I can say, okay, I can understand how they can, with all the contingencies and all the context, they can make the decisions they made. But the second death and the third death, those are inexcusable. Those are way inexcusable. It's like, those are inexcusable. Like, yeah, and especially because it was their child. As well. Like the second, and you turn over your child, absolutely. Because what I'll say is, I know there's the massive, I don't know, so many debates. I've never talked about it on stream, but I've had my own thinking point with it. With, if your child was a murderer, if your child was, you know, all the terrible things you can think of, oh, I wouldn't give my child. I think that indirectly is almost setting up your child for failure. Just mainly because, right? And not saying that, you know, going to prison or whatever is automatic fix, but especially in the UK with mental wards and mental, of course, asylums don't exist, but mental facilities that can help. I know myself, like, especially, this is an example. I respect that. I do the same as much. It will hurt, but, like, that child needs help, and I can't help that child. And that child constantly being in that environment where I can't physically do anything. I can't look at my child. And, of course, naturally, as a mother or father, it's hard to truly discipline your child because of the love and affection you have. So, like, you're just allowing them to continue to do all that evil that they're doing, you know? And no, like, I'm sorry, like, just as a random person, you would, you know, turn over. It should be the exact same as your child, because your child needs the help, you know, and it's better for their life. I think to keep the child and not tell them, I think it's quite selfish. And I do think Omar's parents were selfish. I do think they were rather selfish. And I feel very, very sorry for their daughter. They brought the daughter into the world just for her to die at her brother's hands. That is haunting. That is haunting. Sister finds out at 18-year-old your brother has first time with mom's corpse, and oh my gosh, send that with absolute tenacity. What's going on, Parker? I think little bro should have got life death penalty on his 18th. It's hard. It's really, I think, especially if you want to incorporate death penalty, I think the child being, because of course I'm never for death penalty. Of course I don't think it should be, but like, he was watching a case of the world's youngest serial killer. I just couldn't imagine my child being capable of evil like that. I cry honestly, and that's like, to look at your child, especially taking lives, and like how cynical he did it. Like, that would be like, what the flip have I done? Like, what have I brought into this world? You know, like, the amount of guilt you would have for yourself as well. I think if you do want to incorporate the death penalty, I'll definitely say over that 10-year span, seeing how he's what's the word? Like, he adjusts, you know? I don't F with the death penalty, but that kid was born with the devil inside of him, bro. Like, it's insane. And the analogy she uses with the loaded gun, I wouldn't, especially, he clearly didn't have any trauma. There was nothing you can pinpoint in his tiny 8 years of living, or 7 years or whatever, that was like, yes, that was a switch. That was a switch in his life. There is nothing. There's nothing even to half the level. Oh no, man. I guess it's just about putting a safety on the gun, and I think that's when getting special help does come in. I don't get how they let the first kill go to, that was a family member, that was his little cousin, and they still happily gave birth to honestly, brought another life into the world. I get she was already pregnant, so it wasn't like, you know, and I know doing like, I'm assuming like an abortion or whatever is really frowned upon in their culture, but still, like, this, like, even, like, bro, Call the police should have been done. But now he's been out building his own family. He's out there, and I'm scared to see what he will do with newborns. Of course, he hasn't killed an adult or anyone that's older than him, so we can't assume he would go around ravaging